Do you think we're getting more, I don't want to say depraved, but it's more, in one view, it'd be depraved if you looked at like these evangelical type of views, or like, people that came over on the Mayflower, like sexually, they'd see us probably as more depraved.
Sure.
But do you feel like we're just evolving or just adjusting into different, more sexual norms?
Yeah, I think so. And it's also like the depravity. Like, I don't believe people's bullshit. Like, I don't believe the people. Some of them, sure, but the majority of the ones who are scolding and going, "Oh, it's terrible. How could you do that?" And then you realize that in D.C., these prostitutes are going, "Do you know how many of these senators I fuck, or how many of these congressmen I fuck?" Like, so I don't buy any of it. Like, there are people who live that way. But as far as, again, a moral lecture or a sexual acceptability lecture from some, I don't believe any of them, and I don't respect any of their opinions. But yeah, I think we are more open than we used to be, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, what's considered the norm now is different. I mean, back in the Mayflower days, if you were fucking gay, they'd probably hit you with a rod. I don't know what they'd do, but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
They weren't happy to see you.
But I bet there was low-key a lot of support for gay men on those boats, because you're on the ship for a long time.
In high stockings. I mean, come on. You're going to tell me Miles Standish didn't get his asshole played with?
Yeah.
I hope that was his name.
It had to have been, dude. But yeah, you're telling me you're out there drinking. How many women were on the Mayflower? Let's take a gant, because that's going to help.
I'm going to guess very few or none.
Oh.
Or none. I think that's a great point. How many women were on the Mayflower? Probably none of them. Probably all men.
The number of women, most sources agree that 18 adult women began the Mayflower journey. Only 4 or 5 women were still alive by the spring of 1621.
Oh, my God. I guess there was a long line outside each door.
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine that, though?
Yeah.
Hiding. Pregnancy. 3 of the women, Elizabeth Hopkins, Susanna White, and Mary Allerton, were pregnant during the voyage.
And the crazy part is there's no way to prove whose baby it was back then until it's born and you look at it and go, "Oh, yeah, it's your baby." Because there was no DNA testing. There was no, so 10 guys fuck you and one of them gets you pregnant.
Oh,
well.
God, can you imagine, though? Guys would just be trying to get you drunk so that they could then go approach your wife, or they would just be trying to get somebody else, like some other guys, get them and another man so drunk that they could just pretend that they weren't gay for a little while.
For a little while, yeah. Oh, and have sex with the woman, yeah.
Or no, jerk off the man or have sex with the man, but just be like, "Oh, Susanna," just keep saying a woman's name during it or something.
Oh, and pretend like... By that point, you hope that you wouldn't, like, because if you're fucking a guy, he's got to know that you're enjoying it, and vice versa. You hope that you wouldn't have to be thinking about a woman just to convince yourself.
But you might have to be like, "What's going on here?" You know, like, there's some, I'm sure, like astute white males or whatever, who are like, in some of these, who are probably getting money from AIPAC or whatever, who are definitely, who are like banging a guy and be like, "What's happening here? This is, like a Tremors from an Earth. Like, man, the windows or something, you know?
What's going on there?" Yeah, no, I understand.
What's going on? I'm going to come in this guy.
Oh, my God. How did this happen? I must have fallen.
Veto.
Yeah. But yes, in a way, you're right. Because I remember it's fun when I was a kid, when I first started jerking off, I would always try to think of girls, but sometimes I would think of boys. And if I thought of a boy, I was so filled with shame that when I came, I would throw a woman in there. Like, I would press the button and the last slide would be a girl's face. Like, "Oh, I just straight." It was such self-delusion. Right. But yeah, in that way, you're right. It's all about shame and how to stave off the shame you feel about whatever it is.
Yeah, and our society does adjust so much of that. But it is interesting, like, I go to recovery meetings. I'm in SLA recovery and stuff like that. And it's interesting because a lot of it's intimacy disorders, porn addiction. Like, there's so many things. Like, a lot of I'd be like, "Come here, stay away." Like, that was I would want like a woman to be close to me, but then when they got close to me, I didn't want them to, just like a lot of like, just anarchy.
It's being addicted to the hunt as well. It's being addicted to the lead up to something happening, and then when it's happening, you're right, you're like, "Get away." Okay, now, because the lead up was the high, the lead up of the thing, and now that you're here, okay, now it's time for the next drug run, so to speak. Yeah, I definitely get that.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was sometimes.
For me, it was like I would literally look at hookers all night. I would ride around for hours listening to Art Bell on
on NPR.
no, he was on 770 or 660
Was it
overnight.
Rush Limbaugh?
No, Art Bell was a guy. He was like in Pahrump, Nevada, and he was like very big into like UFOs and
Oh yeah, that's that guy.
he was the best.
Oh, and he passed away.
He did die, but I would ride around the meatpacking district and look at prostitutes for hours. I would do the Comedy Cellar and then ride around. But the ritual for me was looking and talking, and most times I wouldn't pick up. I would just ride around and look and be in that space. So a lot of times it's the whole idea of doing something even more than doing it. Like sometimes you do it, but other times it's just the idea of it.
Oh, dude, yeah. Would there be certain things like during the interview process, like when you chat with them, you just kind of say, and every now and then you just hear a certain thing, and you're like, oh, I'll spend more time with this person.
Oh, well, when I would talk to them?
Yeah.
You know, if I was attracted to them, sure. But if I thought they might be a cop, I was so ritualistic. Like they would have to approach the left side of my window. Like there was weird ritualistic things that had to be clicked, like any addiction, right? There's these weird, this box is checked, that box is checked, and then I can proceed. But if it didn't happen, one box wasn't checked, it would wreck the whole experience. Yeah. But yeah, that's addiction is so crazy. Sex is hard. Like porn, I still struggle with porn. I have a hard time. I go into it, I come out of it. It's hard.
I know. I just hate the way that I feel after I notice finally. I hate the way I feel the next day after watching, and I just feel a little bit like dissolved. I feel like the day before I was kind of a bit of a Rubik's Cube and all the color that were matching on the sides and everything. And then the next day I just feel kind of broken, and it takes a day for me to get my energy back organized, kind of.
That's a good way to put it. Dissolved. That's a really good way to put it. Like you feel like kind of like it's a collapsed feeling. Like, and dissolved is the perfect way. You don't feel strong and whole. You know,
Yeah.
and it's not a moral thing. It's just it's all that weird chemicals from like your own drug administrator.
Yeah.
Like when you know what I mean. I'm sitting there. It's not attractive. It's just me twiddling my nips. Ugh, like a fucking chimp.
And if you had to watch a video of yourself jerking off for over all the years, you'd be like, somebody shut this guy down. Somebody put this kid out of his misery.
Yeah, what is he doing? This is long and it'd be like the director's cut of Apocalypse Now, where you're like, I get why they took that stuff out. We didn't need the fucking dinner with the French people. It sucked. If you had to watch yourself jerk, especially if you could add up all the time.
Yeah.
The amount of hours or weeks or months, whatever
You'd quit immediately, I bet.
You'd quit immediately. And it is wasted time.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
Oh, the waste. But I would do the same thing. Like if I would look at I would get high on cocaine, I would look at hookers online.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I would just be looking. I would look at the photos and I would be like, and then I would barter. I was like just poor and I would barter. But then when someone would come over, I would often take the money, put it out of the door, give it to them, and have them go home. I was too nervous to have somebody in my presence. One time a lady came over and she said that she had to get a brain tumor taken out or something. And I was like, well, and I just sat with her for a little while and talked about some stuff, and then she just went home.
Yeah. Sometimes when you also realize like they're real people, and then you realize like, why am I doing this? Like I used to love talking to women after. Like I used to love the conversation afterwards. Like after sex or whatever, we would just sit and chat, or if I would drop them off, we would talk. And I realized it's a lot of loneliness. Like you're just lonely and you don't know how else to meet somebody. I didn't know how to go out and talk to people. So that was a way of meeting people. That shit I don't miss. Like being married, the one thing I like I can just call my wife and talk to her. Like, you know what I mean? Like we actually, it's a nice, stable thing to have in your life. Like a person who you really like. And loving somebody, yeah. But I mean, you have to like them too. It's not enough to love somebody. Like you have to like talking to them.
Yeah.
And you have to enjoy. And we have our dumb dog, and I'll just be on FaceTime with her and the dog. And I'm like, this is the life I want. The dog shits all over. It makes me furious, but it's still a nice life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Compared to what was going on before, which was very lonely and isolated.
Yeah, it does. It's just interesting. You get kind of like trapped in patterns over time. And when you're a comedian, it feels like you don't ever have to grow. Or I don't know if it's a comedian. I don't know. I've struggled at certain points in my life to grow up, I didn't realize for years that I hadn't been growing up really. I was kind of trapped, I think, in like a child's ways in a lot of times, but they were working out okay because
Yes.
we're in comedy and it's like you don't have a ton of responsibility. It's all on you. You have to show up. You know, it's like it felt almost like a kid could do it.
But you also, there's something about that is good too. Like, because our impression of somebody growing up and getting older was like, you go up, you retire, you get the gold watch, and then you go into a home and you're finished. Like there was a process and there was a definitive end at the end of the tunnel. But when you always feel like I don't have to grow up and follow that pattern, you always feel like I don't know what's ahead of me. Like you don't see the end because—
Wait, say that part again. I want to hear it.
you don't feel like you can always see the end. You don't know what's ahead because you're not following the pattern of people growing up.
So it makes everything more exciting, you think?
More exciting, yeah. And you feel like there's an endless amount of time, or I don't know which direction this is going to go in. That's the terrifying part of doing things the way like your parents do it, is that you see A, B, C, D. But if you're kind of stuck between A and B in some way, you have no idea where you're headed yet. And it still feels like the end is not directly in front of me.
And that makes you also continue to feel young because it's that same feeling that you always had when you were young.
Yeah, it's kind of, it is. It's a way, and I think it's a healthy way to be. I don't think it's crazy as long as you're paying your bills and you're decent to the person that you're with.
Do you ever think over time, like, did you think like you were missing relationships like that when you were younger? Like, were you missing like some, like, do you think people could be like missing a connection with like a male figure, and then that creates gay curiosity in somebody over time? Does that make any sense to you?
Sure. I mean, what creates curiosity in anybody, I don't know. Like, that could be one thing that causes it, like, because you're craving that connection, and all of a sudden you're like, well, there's a sexual component to this too, where I want to connect and I think it's sexual. I don't know exactly what, like I said, what makes me have a pull towards something, but there are things like that that I think can influence it. Like, if you don't have any male figures in your life and you get close to a male figure, you may love that person and then not know, like, wow, is this love like I want to lay down with this person, or is this a healthy, normal, I love you, man? Like, why, do you have gay curiosity?
I think there was time in my life where I like didn't, like, I was just definitely like a late bloomer with a lot of like intimacy of any type.
Sure.
You know, like I was just talking about this the other day with a friend, but it was like, even now if a woman like looks at me, it's like, or says something nice, I got to change the fucking subject. It's hard for me to be in that moment, right? It's hard for me to be right here. And, but yeah, growing up, I just felt like I didn't get a lot of like, I didn't have like a strong brotherly or fatherly connection. And so like when I started to get relationships like that with friends later on, I think it was a part of me for a little bit. It was like, oh, is this like a gay? Like, because I was so desperate for those relationships. Yeah. So part of me, it had a wager in my head, like, is this a gay thing or is this just a friend thing? And then I had to learn how much can you just be a friend to somebody without kind of not seeming into a homosexual like space or sexual space, but just like into where it's awkward for them because you're trying to be too much of a friend because you just have never had that sort of friendship. Yeah,
I mean, but there is it's a feeling that there's a definitive like a moat. Like if I love one of my friends, I'm like Bobby or any of these guys, Rotten Voss, who I love.
He's the best.
Colin, I love these guys. I mean, I really love them. And I can hug them and tell them I love you. But there's a moat between that and wanting to peck them on the neck.
Yeah, for sure.
There is a definitive line. And that's what people a lot of times don't like any guys who are freaked out by my lifestyle, like that's fucking gross. Like most guys have to understand, like the idea of me having sex with you is as disgusting to me as it is to you. Like it makes me nauseous to think about it. Like if any of my friends think I want to jerk off with them, they're very delusional. I don't. None of them. I don't care if they're built like Rogan. None of them would I jerk off with.
Yeah, glazing that ham, brother.
None of them. So it's like there is a line between love and really connecting with a friend and feeling intimate with a buddy, which I'm glad as an adult male I'm allowing myself to do. Like I'm not afraid of that, and feeling sexual. They're completely different things for me. But you know there can be you can love somebody without having any of that stuff.
Yeah, and I think you just hear so much like when you're young, it's like there was always so many like you can't say this around a dude or something. A lot of that's kind of changed over the years. Especially me, I'm a pretty emotional dude, and so I like thinking about emotions, and I like I like kind of examining that stuff. But yeah, I think there was probably some times where I was like, am I like, and also I was having so much trouble like communicating with women. So it also to say, well, maybe I'm gay man, maybe I'm gay man. But then I never felt an attraction to men. And so it was like, but I think some of that's pretty normal. I'm amazed at a lot of my friends as I get older that date trans, prefer to date trans women.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of people that
it's a lot more than I ever expected.
Yeah, and it's part of people think like, well, it's this new thing, but a lot of it is people are just not hiding anymore,
right?
Or they're just not as afraid of it, or they're more aware of it because there's more people who are trans now, and there's more like, with surgeries and estrogen, and like, oh wow, that person looks great. Like, there's so many things people do. It's just it's a part of the culture, and it's not going to go away. Like, I know some people. I understand nobody wants an ideology beaten over their head. I get it. Nobody wants to be told how to feel. I don't scold people if they don't agree with me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Plenty of people I know who I respect and like would find my lifestyle awful.
Did you feel like you were handsome when you were a kid or not?
Never.
Really?
No, I look back now. I was like, I was a cute little boy. I look back. I was like, yeah, when I was 5, I get why a lot of the older kids saw my face and deserved that we should hump that. I got it. I got it.
Was there a lot of predators in your neighborhood and shit?
No, we were all in the same age group. There was maybe a couple, but no, we were all, my therapist tells me I was molested, but I was like, I was kind of volunteering for it. I was there for it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think so.
I was hanging out on the mistletoe type of vibe.
I was in on it, Oh, that's me at 17.
Is that you?
That's me at 17.
Oh my God.
Yeah, young urban Jim with a lot of attitude.
Wow, I did not see this. You look like somebody that would work for Neil Brennan. You know what I'm saying? You look like definitely like a young Wigga type of child.
Yeah, that hat really should have been removed from my head, white with the Clockwork Orange shirt. I didn't know what I wanted to be.
You're doing a lot of things here.
That's why when I see people with these identity crises, like especially when they're like political about it or whatever, I understand the identity crisis. We all have them in time, and eventually you grow into who you are.
Oh yeah, dude. I was doing the black thing for a kid. I did the Nirvana thing, Stone Temple Pilots. I did all the things. Marilyn Manson. I went down a lot of different roads. The religious, like different things. Just like you were like, yeah, you're trying shit on.
You're trying stuff on, like, and that was I was into like the little white kid who thinks he's black. I was doing that long before it was fashionable.
Fuck yeah.
Like in the 80s, like when Adidas still had fat laces and that was considered.
Yeah.
But then you grow out of it, and then you just kind of. Somebody said one time, like, instead of looking for who you are, just get rid of all the shit that you're not, and whoever you are just shows up. And that kind of made sense. Like, just stop looking for it and just live, and you'll find. But I see so many people in life now looking for an identity. That's what so much of this stuff is, public. You know what I mean? People that are so adamant, always talking about the same thing, You're like, you want an identity. You're looking to, you want a little prefab identity, like a little.
And do you think there's a way that we can get to know, like, so one of the things you just said is like, get rid of the things that you're not, right?
Sure.
Like, yeah, how do we find our identity more? Because I wonder if we used to be better at that. I feel like if we used to have more of communication with like our parents, like back in like almost like caveman times, was there something more that your identity was kind of shaped with just being able to survive, right? And now we have all this other fucking ornamentation that helps us get a reflection of ourselves. I just wonder if it was different, or how do we find our identity better? I wonder.
Well, there was less pressure then, because now immediately everybody weighs in. So there's this pressure to weigh in so we don't drown. Like we want to just be above sea level. We just want to survive and be noticed and be alive. So there's no time for it. It's almost like that's why people have these almost like big, like when you see a house being driven down the street on the back of a flatbed, like that pre-built house. That's how people are with politics and with social issues. There's no time to go looking for nuance, and it's like, okay, that's who I am,
right?
And that's what I'm associated with. Everybody's so afraid of being run over by all of it. So I think just don't listen to what everybody else is saying. I don't give a shit what other people think about stuff. I don't begrudge them, but I don't care. Like I have plenty of friends whose politics I totally disagree with. I don't give a fuck.